can go ahead.
Alzheimer's disease affects people all around the world. Personally, when I first started researching this subject, I didn't know a lot about it, so I had to do a lot of research. I searched the basics of this disease. I also searched some various facts because everyone needs to know facts. And I searched some interesting background stories. Throughout my speech, I will be informing you of general knowledge, various facts, and some touching background stories. So you may be asking yourself, well, what is Alzheimer's? Doctors at the Alzheimer's Disease Education Referral Center says Alzheimer's disease is an irreversible, progressive brain disorder that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills, and eventually the ability to carry out the simplest projects. Now that's kind of scary. This disease slowly eats away at your brain. The toxins in your brain slowly change, and it begins to twist and turn your brain to where it shrinks. As you can see in your handout, the difference between a healthy brain and a brain affected by Alzheimer's is dramatically different. The Alzheimer's brain is a lot more shrunken than the regular brain. The progress will slowly twist and tangle your brain, and when it shrinks, the toxins slowly take away your memory. That's kind of scary. There are 3 different types of Alzheimer's. The lightest and the easiest to handle is called mild Alzheimer's disease, well named for what it is. But it's not so mild as you might think. The effects of mild Alzheimer's disease is wandering and sometimes getting lost. You also have trouble handling money, and you might end up repeating questions. But the biggest and most obvious change that Alzheimer's will do is just general change in behavior. The more difficult to handle Alzheimer's disease is moderate kind. This comes with hazy memory, and you start to forget your family and friends, maybe names or just facial appearances. And the simplest things can turn into something hard, like climbing Mount Everest. The worst, and the kind you don't want, is called severe Alzheimer's. This can have you bedbound, and most of the time you cannot communicate with friends and family. Now that I've informed you of the basics of Alzheimer's, I want to further your knowledge with various facts. Did you know 5 million Americans are currently dying this year from Alzheimer's? And 46 million are affected worldwide. The mass of people that care for these Alzheimer's patients expands beyond 100 million people worldwide. Every 1 through 9 American U.S. citizens have Alzheimer's or know someone who has been affected by Alzheimer's. And most of these people won't see the effects of this disease for over 20 years. There's about 11 of us in this room, and that means at least one of us could be affected by the time we're ages 65 or older. You would not believe the cost it takes to pay for Alzheimer's disease. Did you know that medical payments for people with Alzheimer's is 19 times higher than people without? Now that's a ridiculous amount. This disease affects mainly older people. In fact, researchers at the Alzheimer's Disease Education Referral Center tells us one of the greatest mysteries of Alzheimer's is why it largely strikes older adults. This plays a big part in why medical bills are so high, because not only are they paying for Alzheimer's, but they're also paying for other things they might be going through. The average Alzheimer patient, ages 65 or older, pays $48,000 a year in healthcare bills. Now personally, I don't have $48,000 laying around, and I'm sure you don't either. Knowing the facts helps us to see only a fragment of what these people might go through on a daily life. I want to take you a little deeper and dig a little deeper into the lives of those who are affected, or the lives of loved ones who are affected. I read an article about a bank manager in Michigan. Her name was Sandy. At age 57, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This was in 2004. Throughout her article, she writes about her struggles of forgetting things, not remembering her family, her friends, and getting lost multiple times. She spends most days in pain and very confused, but she speaks of never losing her faith with God. and how she would thank him on a daily basis just for being alive. Now that takes a crazy amount of faith. Another interesting story is about a girl with the last name Muffet. Now that's a cool name. 9 years she cared for her mother, and this was not an easy task for her. She basically put her whole life on hold for her mom. She speaks of a time when her mom was lost, and she had to go find her. She has no job, no husband, no family, or career, and she has no future plans for her life. She totally gave up her life just to be with her mom. Now that's kind of tough, but even through all this, she tells us how important it is to stay tuned with God. So you might be asking yourself, so why is this important? Why should I care? I chose this topic because someday I may be affected by this, or you may be affected by this, or maybe someone you love will be affected by this. My grandparents are personally reaching an age where they may be affected by this, so I thought it was important for me to know. Knowing as much as possible gives you the upper hand with this disease, and being ready helps you to stand up to this disease. Now I have just equipped you with the basic knowledge you need to know. Being well informed and knowing facts and good background helps you be ready for Alzheimer's, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. I gave you the background needed and the overview that you need to know about Alzheimer's. Now what you do with this info is up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jose.